Welcome to Mindset English, where we bring you the most inspiring and life-changing stories. Today, you're about to witness a story that goes beyond mere success. It's a tale of struggle, pain, determination, and the unstoppable power of never giving up. This is the journey of a young boy who had nothing, no money, no home, not even enough food to eat. A boy who lost everything at a young age. A boy who walked for 2 years, barefoot and starving, across 470 kilometers to chase a dream. He endured storms, hunger, and crushing loneliness. But he never stopped. That boy later became the founder of one of the world's most powerful luxury brands, Louis Vuitton. How did he do it? How did a homeless, hungry child create a billion-dollar empire? How did he turn his pain into power and his struggle into a symbol of ultimate luxury? Everything you're about to hear is true. Every hardship, every victory, and every lesson. Watch the full story not just to learn about Louis Vuitton's journey, but to improve your English with powerful storytelling, emotional depth, and a rich vocabulary that teaches you naturally through one unforgettable narrative. Let's begin. At the very beginning, the year was 1821, in a small, forgotten village called Angers in eastern France. A child was born into a world of hardship. His name was Louis Vuitton. His family was poor, very poor. His father, Xavier Vuitton, was a carpenter, a man who worked with rough wooden boards and heavy nails. His mother, Coronne Gaillard, was a hat maker, sewing by hand for local village women. They worked day and night, yet barely made enough to survive. The house they lived in was small, made of creaking wood with a leaking roof and a dirt floor that turned to mud in the winter. There were no warm blankets, no heating, no comforts of any kind. From the time he could walk, Louis knew life was not fair. He didn't have the toys that wealthy children had. He didn't go to school. Instead, he spent his childhood helping his father in the workshop, lifting heavy wood, hammering nails, cleaning sawdust from the floor. His hands were blistered and calloused. His clothes were patched and torn. His stomach was often empty. And yet even then, Louis was not like the other children in his village. He had nothing, but he carried something powerful deep within him, a dream. Every day, travelers passed through the village, wealthy men and women dressed in fine clothes. They arrived in carriages, their belongings packed into large wooden trunks that fascinated young Louis. Where were they going? Who made those beautiful cases they carried? What kind of world existed beyond the borders of this village? His curiosity burned stronger every day. He didn't know much about life beyond Angers, but he knew one thing. He didn't belong here forever. He wanted more. Tragedy struck when Louis was just 10 years old. His mother, already sick, grew weaker by the day. In a village with no doctor, no medicine, and no hospital, hope disappeared quickly. Louis watched her fade away, powerless to help. One cold morning, as sunlight broke over the hills, she took her final breath. Louis stood at her grave, silent. He didn't cry, he didn't scream. He simply stared, his heart broken in silence. After her death, his father withdrew into himself, numb, distant, a man crushed by grief. Louis was left with no guidance, no protection, and no love. He was completely alone. But from that pain came a decision. He would not stay in this village. He would not accept this life of poverty. He would leave and chase his dream. The only problem? He was 13. He had no money, no map, no food, and no one to help him. But the city of Paris, the city of opportunity, was 470 kilometers away. It was unthinkable. But to Louis, it was possible. One cold evening, before the village had risen, Louis packed a small bag. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't leave. A note. He simply walked away. He walked through forests, fields, and hills, through snow, through rain, through sun. He walked for 2 years. His feet bled. His body ached. He slept under trees on cold ground, using his bag as a pillow. Sometimes, kind strangers gave him scraps of food. Most of the time, he went to bed hungry. In small villages, he worked as a helper, chopping wood, feeding animals, cleaning barns. In return, he got nothing more than a slice of bread or a place to sleep. But he kept walking. He could have turned back. He could have begged. But he didn't, because he had a vision, and he would rather die chasing it than live without trying. Finally, after 2 long years of walking, starving, and surviving, Louis reached Paris. But Paris wasn't what he expected. Yes, it was grand, tall buildings, wide streets, shops filled with perfume and pastries, elegant carriages, and dazzling people. The smells of roasted coffee, fresh bread, and flowers filled the air. But beneath that beauty, the city had a harsh, cold side. The poor crowded the streets, sleeping on stones, digging through garbage. Beggars lined the alleys, and criminals waited in the shadows. Paris did not welcome the weak or the poor. Louis had nothing, no shelter, no money, no one to turn to. That first night, he found an abandoned wooden cart near a bakery. He crawled inside, curled into a ball, and tried to sleep. The street was loud. Rats scurried nearby. Cold wind pierced his skin. But he was too tired to care. In the morning, hunger woke him. He watched as the wealthy stepped into bakeries buying warm, golden loaves of bread. His stomach twisted, but he didn't beg. He looked for work. Day after day, he walked the streets, knocking on doors. "Do you have work?" he asked. Again and again, he heard the same answer. No experience, no job. Shops turned him away. People ignored him. He searched trash bins for food, waited until no one was looking, and picked up fallen crumbs from the market floor. His body grew thinner. His spirit was tested. But still, he didn't give up. Then one evening, as the sun painted the sky gold, Louis saw a man struggling to carry a large wooden trunk into a workshop. Without hesitation, Louis ran forward and grabbed the other end. The man looked surprised, but together they brought it inside. The shop was filled with wooden trunks of all shapes and sizes, some plain, some decorated with leather and brass. Louis stared, wide-eyed. This was it, the place he had dreamed of. The owner, Monsieur Maréchal, watched him carefully. "You're strong for your size," he said. "What's your name?" "Louis Vuitton, sir." "What do you want?" "I want to work." "Can you make trunks?" Maréchal asked. "No, but I can learn." The man laughed. "Everyone says that. Few mean it." Louis stood tall. "Give me a chance. I will work harder than anyone you've seen." Silence. Then Maréchal nodded. "Start tomorrow. No pay. You work, you learn. If you prove yourself, we'll talk again." Louis bowed. He had made it in, but this was only the beginning. The next morning, Louis arrived before dawn. The workshop was cold and smelled of fresh glue, wood shavings, and leather. Tools lay across every table: hammers, saws, needles, measuring tapes. His job was to sweep, fetch tools, clean up. Others built. He just observed. But he didn't complain. He was thankful. Weeks passed, then months. He stayed late after everyone left. In secret, he practiced. He hammered wood, carved edges, stitched leather, copying what he had seen during the day. One morning, Maréchal found a small panel Louis had made. He picked it up and examined it. The edges were smooth, the stitching clean. "Did you make this?" he asked. Louis nodded. Maréchal didn't scold him. He didn't smile either. But from that day forward, he let Louis stay late and taught him personally. Louis soaked in every detail: how to choose the right wood, the strongest thread, the softest leather. He memorized every cut, every stitch, every brush stroke. Years passed. By the time Louis was 20, his hands had transformed, from those of a poor village boy to those of a master artisan. Customers began asking for him by name. "That Vuitton boy. I want him to make my trunk." And then everything changed. One day, a woman entered the shop. Elegant, graceful, powerful. She wore a silk gown and diamonds. But it was her name that mattered most. Eugénie de Montijo, Empress of France, wife of Napoleon III. She wasn't just rich. She was royalty. She glanced around the shop unimpressed, until she saw Louis. "You're the one they call Vuitton?" she asked. "Yes, Your Majesty," he said. "I need a trunk, but not like these. I want something elegant and practical, something new." Louis's heart raced. This was it, his one chance. "I can make it, Your Majesty," he said. "A flat-topped trunk, stackable, light, waterproof. I will cover it in canvas, not leather. It will be perfect for travel." Everyone in the room stared. No one had ever dared to challenge the traditional trunk design. But the Empress smiled. "Do it," she said. "Impress me." In 1837, a 16-year-old Louis Vuitton embarked on a journey from his rural hometown of Angers to Paris, covering over 280 miles on foot. Upon arrival, he secured an apprenticeship with Monsieur Maréchal, a renowned trunk maker. For nearly 2 decades, Vuitton honed his craft, gaining a reputation for precision and innovation in luggage design. His dedication culminated in 1854, when he established his own workshop at 4 Rue Neuve des Capucines in Paris, marking the birth of the Louis Vuitton brand. Vuitton's breakthrough came with the introduction of flat-topped trunks covered in Trianon canvas, a departure from the traditional rounded-top trunks. This design not only allowed for easier stacking, but also offered enhanced durability and protection for travelers' belongings. His commitment to quality and innovation quickly attracted a prestigious clientele, including Empress Eugénie de Montijo, wife of Napoleon III, who appointed him as her personal trunk maker. The endorsement by the Empress catapulted Vuitton into the limelight, leading to increased demand from aristocrats, politicians, and affluent travelers. However, despite his growing reputation, Vuitton remained an employee in Maréchal's workshop. Recognizing the need for independence to fully realize his vision, he made the bold decision to establish his own business. With modest savings equivalent to about $1,000 today, he rented a small space in Paris, equipped with minimal tools and a single workbench. He proudly displayed a wooden sign reading Louis Vuitton Malatier, signaling his transition from craftsman to entrepreneur. The early days of his business were challenging. Working alone, Vuitton handcrafted each trunk, often laboring from sunrise to midnight. His dedication began to pay off as orders increased, but the outbreak of the Franco-Prussian War in 1870 brought unforeseen hardships. Paris became a battleground, leading to the exodus of wealthy clients and the collapse of many businesses. Vuitton's shops suffered, with orders ceasing and finances dwindling. Determined to persevere, he sold tools, reduced material usage, and continued working tirelessly even as bankruptcy loomed. Following the war's conclusion, a renewed interest in travel emerged among the elite. Vuitton seized this opportunity, reopening his shop and witnessing a surge in demand for his innovative trunks. In 1871, he expanded his operations by establishing a larger workshop in Asnières-sur-Seine, just outside Paris. This facility, 4 times the size of his previous shop, allowed him to hire workers, train apprentices, and develop new collections, laying the foundation for a burgeoning empire. During this period, Vuitton's personal life flourished as he married Clémence Émilie Pariot, a supportive partner who shared his aspirations. They had a son, Georges Ferréol Vuitton, who would later play a pivotal role in the company's expansion. Despite his professional success, Vuitton remained deeply involved in the day-to-day operations, often at the expense of family time. Understanding the influence of the wealthy on societal trends, Vuitton strategically targeted the elite market. He believed that catering to affluent clients would not only ensure profitability, but also elevate the brand's status. By focusing on exclusivity and craftsmanship, he created products that were not just functional, but also symbols of prestige. This approach resonated with high-status travelers, bankers, and businessmen, solidifying Louis Vuitton's reputation as a purveyor of luxury. Upon Louis Vuitton's death in 1892, Georges Fériol Vuitton assumed leadership of the company. Determined to honor his father's legacy while propelling the brand forward, Georges introduced the iconic LV monogram canvas in 1896. This design, featuring interlocking initials and floral motifs, served both as a tribute to his father and a measure against counterfeiting. Georges also expanded the brand's international presence, showcasing products at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair and opening stores in cities like London and New York. Under Georges' guidance, Louis Vuitton diversified its product offerings, introducing items such as handbags, cutlery bags, and luxury minibars. These innovations catered to the evolving needs of travelers and reinforced the brand's commitment to blending functionality with elegance. However, the rise of counterfeit products posed a significant challenge. To combat this, Georges implemented measures like the unpickable lock, a security feature so effective that even famed escape artist Harry Houdini declined to attempt its breach. As the company grew, Georges faced the realities of aging and the complexities of managing a global enterprise. In 1936, he passed away, leaving the company in the hands of his son, Gaston Louis Vuitton. Gaston, having been immersed in the family business from a young age, was well equipped to navigate the challenges of a rapidly changing world. The Great Depression and the advent of automobiles and airplanes transformed travel, diminishing the demand for traditional trunks. Recognizing the need for adaptation, Gaston diversified the brand's offerings, introducing small leather goods, purses, and accessories that aligned with contemporary fashion trends. He also emphasized design innovation, ensuring that Louis Vuitton remained at the forefront of luxury fashion. World War II presented further obstacles. During the German occupation of France, Louis Vuitton maintained operations by collaborating with the Vichy regime, a decision that later drew criticism. Despite the controversy, the company emerged from the war intact, focusing on rebuilding its image and re-establishing its commitment to quality and exclusivity. In the post-war era, Gaston continued to uphold the brand's legacy, catering to a clientele that, despite economic challenges, still sought luxury goods. By maintaining high standards and focusing on the desires of the affluent, Louis Vuitton sustained its position as a symbol of sophistication and status. In the 1950s, Louis Vuitton was back on top. During this time, Louis Vuitton introduced some of its most famous handbags, including the Speedy bag, designed for fashionable women on the go, the Keep-All bag, a stylish modern alternative to traditional luggage, and the Noé bag, originally made for carrying champagne bottles in luxury. Louis Vuitton was no longer just a travel brand. It had become a fashion icon. In the 1950s, Louis Vuitton was back on top. During this time, Louis Vuitton introduced some of its most famous handbags, including the Speedy bag, designed for fashionable women on the go, the Keep-All bag, a stylish, modern alternative to traditional luggage, and the Noé bag, originally made for carrying champagne bottles in luxury. Louis Vuitton was no longer just a travel brand. It had become a fashion icon. By the 1960s, Louis Vuitton had grown into one of the most respected luxury brands in the world. But the world was moving faster than ever. New fashion trends were emerging, the wealthy class was expanding, and competition in luxury was increasing. Gaston Louis Vuitton knew the company needed fresh ideas, so he brought in his son-in-law, Henri Racamier, to help modernize the business. Henri was a brilliant businessman with a vision. He believed that Louis Vuitton could become bigger than ever. His goal: turn Louis Vuitton into the most powerful luxury brand in history. And this decision would change everything. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, Louis Vuitton was already an established luxury brand known for its exclusive luggage, handbags, and accessories. But it was still operating like a traditional family business. The world was changing, and if Louis Vuitton wanted to dominate, it needed a new strategy, a new vision, and a new kind of leadership. This was when Henri Racamier stepped in. Henri Racamier wasn't a designer, and he wasn't a traditional businessman. He was a visionary. When he took control of Louis Vuitton, he saw one thing clearly. This wasn't just a brand, it was an untapped gold mine waiting to explode into a billion-dollar empire. But there was a problem. At that time, Louis Vuitton was selling only to a small group of elite customers in Europe. It was respected but not yet a global powerhouse. So Henri made bold, risky moves that would change the history of luxury forever. First, he expanded to the richest markets. Instead of just selling in France, he pushed into the US, Japan, and the Middle East, places where the wealthiest people in the world were hungry for luxury. Second, he raised the prices. Henri knew one thing. The more expensive an item is, the more people desire it. He increased prices to levels that only the rich could afford. A Louis Vuitton handbag wasn't just an accessory. It was a symbol of status. Third, he transformed the luxury shopping experience. Louis Vuitton stores were no longer simple shops. They became palaces of luxury where customers felt special. Every store had private shopping areas, champagne service, and VIP treatment. But this was just the beginning. Louis Vuitton wasn't trying to sell to everyone. The brand targeted the top 1% of the world, the millionaires, billionaires, celebrities, and royalty. This was why they introduced limited edition bags, exotic leather products, and even private, made-to-order collections. Some of the most exclusive Louis Vuitton products included crocodile skin handbags, python and ostrich skin bags, custom mini bars and cutlery bags, and unzippable travel trunks. But there was one problem. When a brand becomes too exclusive, counterfeits start trying to copy it. As Louis Vuitton's popularity grew, fake LV bags flooded the market. In the 1980s, Knockoff versions of Louis Vuitton handbags were being sold on the streets of Paris, New York, and Tokyo. This was a huge threat to the brand's image. If everyone had a Louis Vuitton bag, it wouldn't be special anymore. So Henri Racamier launched one of the biggest anti-counterfeiting campaigns in history. Louis Vuitton hired special teams of investigators to track down and shut down counterfeit factories. They worked with governments to pass strict anti-counterfeiting laws. They introduced special security features in their products to make them harder to fake. But Henri knew that to truly dominate the market, Louis Vuitton needed to become more than just a luggage brand. So he made a historic move. In 1987, Henri Racamier made a game-changing decision. He merged Louis Vuitton with Moet et Chandon, a luxury champagne brand, and Hennessy, a premium cognac brand, to create LVMH, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. This was brilliant because now Louis Vuitton wasn't just a fashion house. It was part of the world's biggest luxury group. With this merger, LVMH controlled dozens of luxury brands, expanded into fashion, jewelry, cosmetics, and alcohol, and became the richest luxury company in the world. But Henri Racamier didn't get to enjoy his empire for long. As LVMH grew, a new player entered the scene, a young businessman named Bernard Arnault. Arnault was hungry for power. He saw that LVMH was a golden opportunity, and he wanted to take control. In 1989, he used aggressive business tactics to push Henri Racamier out and took full control of LVMH. This move was controversial, but it made Bernard Arnault the most powerful man in luxury fashion. Once he had full control, Bernard Arnault transformed LVMH into a financial powerhouse. He expanded into new markets like China, Russia, and India. He bought luxury brands like Dior, Givenchy, and Fendi, making LVMH the most powerful fashion group in the world. He introduced super high-end products with prices reaching millions of dollars. Today, under Bernard Arnault, LVMH is worth over $500 billion, making it the richest luxury company in the world. Arnault himself is often ranked as the richest person on earth, with a net worth of over $200 billion. Today, Louis Vuitton represents exclusivity. Owning an LV bag means you've made it in life. Every Louis Vuitton product is handmade by the best artisans in the world. Whether it's a handbag, luggage, or a custom minibar, Louis Vuitton is the ultimate sign of wealth. Even after 170-plus years, Louis Vuitton remains the most powerful luxury brand in the world. And it all started with one young man, Louis Vuitton, who had nothing but a dream. Louis Vuitton's story is a lesson in determination, vision, and risk-taking. From a poor boy in a small village to the biggest luxury empire in the world, Louis Vuitton proves that hard work and innovation can change everything. Every step, from handcrafting trunks to creating billion-dollar handbags, was built on excellence and exclusivity. And even after wars, economic crises, and battles for control, Louis Vuitton has stood the test of time. This is more than a brand, it's a legacy. If you found this story of Louis Vuitton's rise to global luxury dominance inspiring, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most iconic brands and their untold histories. Your support helps us bring you more powerful stories of vision, ambition, and success. Drop a comment below. What do you think was the most game-changing moment in Louis Vuitton's journey? And if you want to explore more luxury legends, make sure you turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching and stay classy.